Thank you, Florence. Wow, what an intro. I have a bit of pressure when I'm introduced at such lengths. So the only way I found to relieve the pressure, and this is a good time now, is to borrow money. It's not a joke. I need to borrow a paper bill. Any currency? I think there's 16 in the audience, so if you've got small notes, I'll give it back. That's a good point, sir. And good. Perfect. What's your name?
Peter.
Again?
Peter.
Peter. Good, Peter. Peter, British, right? Australian. I'll give it back to you in the same condition. You agree? Yes. Let me fold it first. And it's going to get smaller, Peter, but it will never leave your sight. I'll fold it one more time into 16th. And there's dead silence in the audience. And it starts to change color. And if I take a closer look, Peter, it is now 500 euros. No interest, Peter. It's been 25 seconds. Can you stand up, sir, please? You will have a mission, both of you, because I told you I was going to give it back to you in the same condition when you agreed.
I said with commission.
Yeah, you agreed. But first, can you take this bill and can you hold it to the light? Hold it to the light, like this, and can you see the filigrane here?
Yes.
Can you see that in the white part of the bill you can see a window in transparency?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know what that means? It's a real one. Come here, Peter. You'll get to hold on to my wrist here. Hold on to my wrist. And you, sir, hold on to my wrist. You will be not too tight. I know it's 500, but give me a bit of slack. All right, so you have a mission. You will look inside my right hand because you're on my left. You will look inside my left hand because you're on my right. And you can see between my fingers and to my palm, there is nothing hidden in my hands, right? Yeah? And Peter is holding me tighter now. Peter, I always give things back, fortunately for me, unfortunately for you. I will fold it back one last time, but you will get to see the bill every single second from now on. I will just fold it one more time. It's never leaving your side, but it's getting back to blue without interest, Peter. You're holding onto my hands. You can see the inside of my hands. You can see my sleeves are pushed back. My hands are empty, Peter. Thank you very much. It's yours. Sorry. All right, so I have a question for you. What are you feeling? Good. Well, thanks. If you scan through your body, what would you say is going on? I see smiles. I see tough faces. I see smile again. Sir, what are you feeling with what has just happened? Just one word, one adjective, one verb. Amazing. Cool. All right. Wow. Okay. Another word, maybe? Yeah, how? Is that an emotion? A feeling? Curiosity. Good. The point I'm trying to make is this. In the span of a few minutes, you went from a disengaged, neutral state. We're coming back from lunch. We heard some cool things about social media, but you don't know what to expect from my talk as a speaker. You're in a disengaged state. Then paper money appears. People smile, get curious, get concerned. You went through a transformation. You grew, and you changed, and you transformed. You went through and lived an emotion. The point I will make in the next 40 minutes is this. This is about my life summed up in like this one sentence, 23 years, creating the wow, selling a product or a service, any product or service, serving a customer, any customer, B2B, B2C, creating loyalty, and in the end, if we sell, serve, and get them to be loyal, they will trust us, amounts to creating emotion in the relationship. Not one emotion, but several emotions, exactly 3. So I'm going to make you 2 promises. The first promise is that I will give to you these three emotions that create the wow effect that I tried, and I think I succeeded in creating for you right now. And I will also satisfy your curiosity, because in a few minutes, I will explain exactly how one magic trick works. You will come through the window with me, through the looking glass, and I will show you exactly what's happening on the other side. I will show you what the implications are in terms of what was talked about this morning, in terms of empathy, in terms of perceptive construction. All right? So you might be wondering how a magician, illusionist, and a mentalist, I will do a mentalism effect at the end of the show, could be able to talk to you about a business strategy like the customer experience, right? Legitimate question. Why? How? And how can I talk about neuroscience, neurobiology, emotions? Because I won't delve into personal development, I will go into hardcore science. So how? Why? Why can I talk about that? So let me backtrack very fast. So before I won the Monte Carlo Magic Grand Prize in 2004, yeah, that's me, I know. I was much younger at the time, and so was Prince Albert. Although I aged a little bit more, or better. Before I won this, I could have been in the audience with you today because I have an MBA, and this is true. I have an MBA in finance from Boston University, Northeastern University to be exact, and specialization in corporate finance and risk management, which accounts for the very thick American accent. And then I went to a business school in Paris, and then to Birmingham University to finish my degree, general management, and then I did neuromarketing at ESSEC Business School in Paris, so that's why I can talk about neuromarketing. So, why? Why am I doing this? These are my clients. For the last 7 years, I've worked for Chanel and other high-end jewelry brands. And this client here that you see spends between $10 million and $25 million a year in jewelry in their stores. That's a ring that was lent that night. And that ring is $163,000. And the accompanying necklace is a mere $2 million. So they're giving me these pieces, and this is what happened. That was in Dubai, in the highest tower, and I was given this jewelry box, this scarf. This was the rehearsal before I before I met the client. So I had very little time to rehearse. He's a real bodyguard. He doesn't know what's going to happen. I just told him, hold the case and don't move. And in the span of a second, 2 millions, we don't all have the same problems. I asked the marketing director of Chanel, the marketing director of Louis Vuitton high-end jewelry, I asked them, why do you make me come to your evenings, and why am I now part of the customer journey? Why am I part of your customer experience? And they both gave me the same answers. They told me, because you create the wow, but more than that, you create specific emotions, high impact and positive emotion in the span of a few seconds. And why is that important? Because, this is the only neuroscience I will impart upon you today. Because a positive emotion or a negative emotion produce something called adrenaline. And adrenaline fixates long-term memory. That's it. So, if you want your customer to be loyal, what is loyalty? We become loyal because we remember good things about people. We become loyal because we have souvenirs attached to people or to brands. So loyalty, neuroscientifically, is created because of the presence of emotion. If you're loyal to your spouse or husband, it's because you have spent and lived very positive and very different and many different emotions, good or bad. But they will impact memory. So within the context of the customer experience, the more emotions are created, the more memory will be impacted. So let me give you my definition of the customer experience. What is it? There's very complex definitions. We sometimes don't know what it is and what it's for. It's to impact memory, but the customer experience is a sum game. It's a sum game. It's the addition of all the perceptions and all the emotions which taken together will create a final and global feeling towards someone, towards a brand, or even towards a place. When you arrived here this morning, you saw some things, you smelled some things, you met people at the booth, which were smiling, hopefully, and all these little pieces put together, the trees and the sun, and started to create your experience, your customer journey, your customer experience. It all starts with perceptions. These perceptions become emotions. These emotions, if they're strong or not, become memories, and then on a global scale, you have a global customer experience. What is the goal? Why do we think it's important? Besides making customers loyal and making us make money. Sell more stuff. Yeah, that's a consequence. But it's a good consequence. Yes. What happens when we have a long-term relationship? What do we have to do to create a long-term relationship? Yeah, but besides that, deliver good service to the person you're serving? Yeah. To your loved one? Do you do that? Every day? The goal of customer experience is to satisfy simple needs. We tend to forget this. Even if we sell complex stuff, even if we sell finance, even if we sell computers, even if we sell software, it's the same thing. We have to satisfy simple needs. And if we're in a relationship of trust, it's because some simple needs are satisfied. There are 3 simple needs. People need to be reassured because we are all scared shitless as human beings. We're scared of not having enough. We're scared of dying. We're scared of not being loved. We're scared of not having enough to eat. We're scared. So we want to be reassured first. Then we need to be considered. We need to know that we count as a person. We need to know that we're known for different things and for specific details. We need to know that the other person knows us from the inside out. And then, once these 2 needs are satisfied, we can get surprised, we can get a little bit more. The surprise is the icing on the cake. As I said before, because you saw the picture, we're all teddy bears in a brutal life. Oh, let's go together. Yeah. From time to time, I do stuff to pique your attention. And every time I do a magic effect, I'm trying to create the 3 emotions which I haven't talked about yet. But I will detail them later on. And they're going to be part of the illusion you're going to see now. I'm going to make something appear twice and disappear twice. I'm going to repeat the effect, which magicians don't usually do. And then something different from the context I'm creating will be appearing too. So let's cut to the chase. That's the first appearance. See, I warned you because of the picture, right? And you know it's going to vanish because I told you it was going to vanish. Hold your applause. So, so what happened? I had this scarf, my sleeves were pushed back, my hands are empty, and a candle appeared, right? This is what happened. Then I lit this candle to prove to you that it was a real candle. And you know, because I told you it was going to vanish, but it is going to vanish. Let's say it's going to vanish now. I talked about a 3rd appearance, which didn't have anything to do with the rest, and this is a coin. That's how I make a living. I make candles disappear and coins appear and change 500 bills. Can you hold on to this coin? Yeah, I will get it back later, but make sure there's no glue or nothing stuck to it. Right? By the way, do you understand me correctly? Yes? Because I can do the French accent very easily too, you know. And I heard that it was very good with the ladies, you know, because French is the love language. Apparently, I don't know why, but but if you may, I will carry on in English. What just happened? You lived and you went through 3 specific emotions, the same 3 emotions that I used with the dollar bill. I got this from two specific studies where they studied about a few 100,000 individuals to whom they showed pictures and movies of emotions, good and bad. And the result of this study was that there were 3 emotions that were the most saturating physiologically. That means they produced a lot of chemicals within your body, and they made you feel really differently. These 3 emotions are surprise, interest, and joy. And interest is an emotion. I will detail them later on to tell you exactly what they mean. In front of these good emotions, positive emotions, the wow effect emotions, we have all of these: sadness, anger, disgust, contempt, fear, impatience. These are the major, I don't say negative emotions, I prefer to say good and bad. It's not, the emotion is not polarized. Do you know what's the goal of an emotion, by the way? Why do we have emotions? A lot of them piss us off, right? But why? Why do we have emotions? What are their roles? Yes, that's good enough to survive. Yeah, you do express feelings with emotions, but what is their role? The real role? Yes. Well, emotion is part of decision making. If you can't have an emotion, if you don't have emotions, you can't decide. Or you decide with facts and numbers, and it's very hard. But emotion has to be present to decide. An emotion is only telling us if our needs were satisfied or not. If I have a good emotion, that means that a need has been satisfied. One of my vital needs or good needs or the needs that are me are satisfied. If I have a bad emotion, it means that our needs are not satisfied. If a client is angry, if one of your collaborators is angry, if one of your child is angry, the only thing emotion says is, my need is not satisfied. And if you want to do what we say emotional intelligence, instead of reacting to the emotion, which sometimes can be good, but not always, you have to know what is the need behind the emotion, and you have to search for that need. And that allows you to, as you said this morning, take a different perspective on a situation or a conflict, for instance. I want to highlight this one because you talked about social media previously, and where's the laser? I have no idea. Is there a laser here? No? Il n'y a pas de laser sur la télécommande? No. All right. Low budget convention. And Franz goes, he's not getting paid. That's the killer. We have become the society and we have become the civilization of impatience. We are all impatient. We can't fight because we have information anytime, anywhere, all the time. We want the information now. We want the answer now. We want everything now. We can't fight this. We won't be able to fight. If you want to fight it, you're dead. We speak a lot about friction in the customer experience lingo. And friction is what? What is friction? Friction is something that demands effort. And we as customers, we don't want to make any efforts. We want it now. We want it fast. Do you know what is the goal of the brain? The real goal. When we get up in the morning, whenever we start to do something, the goal of the brain. When I read that, I was struck. The goal of the brain is to minimize the energy expenditure. The real goal of the brain is not to do shit. We don't want to make efforts. We don't like to get up in the morning, even if some of us are very disciplined. We don't want to go to the gym every day. We want to spare the energy. We don't want to make efforts. And so does our customer. Same thing. So, what is surprise? A lot of info, I'm sorry, but I need to go fast. Surprise is not a gift. Surprise is when you exceed expectations. Surprise is when there's something more. It's when the perceived value is higher or better than the expected value. It's always a value game. When you think that you're getting more, that there's more than you expected, you will feel surprise. I do the first effect that I'm doing here in front of a crowd, any crowd, with the $500 bill, because people don't expect to see a bill of this denomination. It creates the surprise. Plus, all the universal beliefs behind getting rich fast and all these things that accumulate inside our unconscious when they see the bill. Delivering more, and the one I like the most is what's your human plus. We tend to forget, especially in our civilization, again, of fastness and bad temper and bad mood, especially in Paris. What's your human plus? Because it creates surprise. Have you called a phone company for something that wasn't going on well? Is there a phone company in the audience? No? Okay, so I can brutalize them. Do you like waiting when you pick up the phone and wait like more than 10 rings? You don't. What happens when someone pick up after 2 rings? Someone speaking, a human being is going to talk to me. It's surprise. It's exceeding your expectation. If you can hear the person smiling at the other end of the line, how do you feel? Do you think we hear smiling when we pick up the phone and when someone picks up your phone? You can hear that, right? That's what I call the human plus. And that's where surprise starts. And that's where we can have more impact in the relationship with surprise. Right? The little things where we add more. More of us, more curiosity, more value. Interest. You said that this morning, I remember. How do we get interested in someone else? How does someone feel that we're interested in them? Yes. What does listening do? Yes. Shows you care. But the most important thing is, when you want to make someone feel like you're interested in them, is to see their world and show them that you know their world and show them that you understand their world. It was easy for me today to create a connection with you because I told you that could have been you in the audience because I made the same studies. I did finance studies and I created the similarity. I created something in common and I showed you that I understood your world. Although I was quite lost this morning when I saw all these graphs. I was, oh my God. That reminds me of my studies. Show you care. Show you understand the other person. There was a wonderful movie about empathy this morning. I don't know if you remember. But it said that in order to create empathy, you need to show the other person that you understand them and that you can give them details about what they're living. And this is how you create interest. I created interest with the candle because I told you I was going to do something twice and many times, and maybe you can catch me as I'm doing it. I drove you into my experience because I gave you some hints and I gave you some things to consider, and I satisfied your curiosity, right? And the last is joy. So joy is not fun. Joy is not, I laugh with my customer. Joy, you experience the emotion of joy when friction is eliminated, when effort is not present. When your customer says, everything is fine, everything is good, I don't have to make any efforts, this person understands me, they know, they're well prepared, everything flows. I don't ask myself any questions. It's easy. I'm guided. I'm taken by the hand. This is when you feel joy. So surprise, interest, and joy are the 3 emotions that create the wow effect. Exceed their expectation, show them that you understand their world, show them that you care, and guide them. When we talk about fluidity and eliminating friction will create joy. Now you can say, well, it's very easy for you because you're doing magic with 500 euro bills and you make candles appear and disappear, so it's very easy for you to create the wow effect. I'm not doing that. I'm selling, I don't know, I'm selling cars, I'm selling very complicated machinery and whatever. You're selling this to a human being. And I'm telling you that you are perfect masters of all these three emotions. You know how to trigger them repeatedly, and you've done them many times. My next question is, what happens when you push the surprise cursor to the top between two individuals? She surprises you, he surprises you. There's always a little thing that counts that's here. There's a flower bouquet. There's a little word on the table when you go home, when you leave. Many attentions, many details. And then the other person knows who you are, they know what you like, what you don't like, and they show you that they know what you like and what you don't like. And they know what you don't, they know your movies, you know your songs. They have a keen interest in you. What if you don't ask yourself any questions within the relationship? What if everything flows and... I say when all three are at their most, what happens between two individuals? What happens? Exactly. It's very rare, but there's always one person in the audience that is spot on, and is this: you're in love. Does he or she surprise you every day? At least the first week. Are you interested in her and him? Do you show them you care? At least the first date. And is everything easy? Do you make things easy? Do you prepare yourself for the first date? Does everything flow? Of course it does. I don't say you should love your customer, but almost. Feeling of trust is very close to the feeling of love. But it will always stem from these three emotions. Can you all stand up, please? It's called a wake-up call. And once you stood up, I want you to picture a playing card in your mind. From the ace to the king, no joker, but any card, red or black. Have you got a card in mind? Yes? Would you please join me? You can put this in your pocket. Not a gift, but all right. You will be the judge. I'm going to make two propositions, and whichever proposition you choose will be eliminated, right? Don't think, make fast decisions. Women or men? Women, all women sit down. Suit or no suit? No suit. All men with no suits sit down. So all just people with suits keep standing. All people with suits keep standing. Yeah. So you want to keep standing? Yeah. All right. White shirt or otherwise? Don't look. Look at what your boss is wearing. Otherwise. So all people without white shirts sit down. Just white shirts. No, just white shirts stand. White shirts. Glasses or no glasses? No glasses. All people with glasses sit down. If they're no pocket doesn't count. You don't have your glasses on. You can sit down. All right. Dark jackets or clear? Okay, all dark jackets sit down. Sorry, this is very dark for me. Yeah. Not you, but the jacket. All right, so just close your eyes for 4 seconds. There's 4 people standing up. You're number 1, you're number 2, you're number 3, you're number 4. All right? Give me a number between 1 and 4, and this person will join us on stage. You, sir, please come, give him a hand. As they say in the Matrix, you're the chosen one. Clear suitcase, inside deck of cards. You made all the choices. We couldn't have known. What's your name, sir? Hans Christian. Would be coming today, right? You have a card in mind? Yes. You do? Can you open this, please? And so that you don't, yes. So that you don't change your mind, sir, can you please tell us which card you're thinking about? King of Hearts. King of Hearts. Do you want to change your mind? No. No? Sure? Yep. Sure. I'm looking for a detail. Something that was done to this deck of cards before I started, because it was in this case since the beginning, right? I think you see, do you see something here? Yes? Hold on. That's what you saw, right? Yeah? Take it at fingertips. Don't move. Okay, perfect. Yes, the only one face down? Yeah? There's this movie called The Prestige. You've seen it? With Hugh Jackman. The Prestige is this moment where the audience erupts into craziness and laughter and you know, they're just going crazy up and down because it's the moment where everything collides, your choices, your thoughts, all your thoughts. What was the card you're thinking about? King of Hearts. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You got my coin? Yes. I promised to you I was going to explain to you how magic works. Yes? So let me give you an explanation. But first I'm going to do the effect. And then I will explain it to you and explain what's behind the thinking, the processes, and the behavior. All right? I'm just going to do this with a coin. And I'll try to do this as slowly as I can. I think it's here. Can't see it yet, but all right. There's no glue attached, right? No thread, nothing? Okay, good. What just happened? You saw it vanish very cleanly. Hands empty, very cleanly. No fast gestures, and then it reappeared, right? Let me break it down. No, don't. I know they're recording this, but don't put it on social media because I'll get by magicians, because I'm not supposed to be explaining what I'm doing. Maybe you can film, but I'm really not supposed to be explaining this. It's true. But it's a lecture, so whatever. This is what happens. The coin is placed in a position where it's going to fall if I incline my hand, because it's called gravity, right? So it's precarious because it's very slight, and if I turn my hand over, the coin tumbles over, and the other hand catches it, right? So far, so good. I'm going to do the same thing, but without doing it. Right? It's only the beginning. This is what happened. When the coin falls, my little finger just slides in and catches the coin by keeping the hand in a natural way, natural form. As soon as it hits my little finger, my other hand is going to mimic the reception of weight by breaking my wrist down and then your brain does the rest. You're seeing the inside of my palm, so you're interpreting that my hand is empty, and since you saw the weight, for you the coin is there, right? Look at what your brain does. I love doing this in front of a mirror. I'm like, it's so cool. I'm fooling myself. So your brain sees it fall, that dumbass, all right? But when I did it 10 minutes before, you didn't say to yourself, it's in this hand. You didn't say that to yourself, right? Why? Because I gave a reason for the fake transfer of the coin. If I were a real magician, I would put it in my hand like this, smoke would come out like in Harry Potter, and then the coin would be gone, right? But I have to do this move here to do the fake transfer and keep it. But I'm going one step further. I'm going to justify the move because the brain loves reason, a reason for action. This is what I do. I pull back my sleeves as if to become more honest, which I'm not. But this is your interpretation. My left hand is empty, so I can pull back my left sleeve. My right hand is empty, so I can pull back my right sleeve. Right? So for you, nothing has happened. But the coin is still here, right? And I don't like it because my hand is kind of closed. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to change the position of the coin to a much more natural position where you think and you interpret that my hand is empty. It took me 25 years to do all that, just single move. It's depressing. I got no childhood, but I can do magic. And I do this as I snap my fingers. So it's a logical gesture, logical action, and for you, nothing has happened. And I'm pointing to this hand, so your brain, the sound, pointing finger, your attention goes there. I'm going to be even more vicious than that. I'm going to let this hand fall and raise this hand. And we're always attracted to something that moves in the bigger motion. So you're going to follow this hand, and this hand is just relaxed so you don't pay attention to it. So you see what happens? I'm directing your attention. I'm not distracting attention. People think magic is it's misdirection. Directing attention. Oh, look at the boat. No. Magic is directing attention. For you, the coin is still there. Then I do this, and you think that maybe it could be somewhere hiding, and then I open and then I do this, as if I didn't know where it was, right? But it's so natural that your interpretation, your perceptions, and then I do that, then I put my sleeves down, my gaze is down, and when my gaze is going to go up and take yours, that's when I'm going to switch and transfer the coin from hand to hand, like this. Show you my wrists and my palms, and you don't see it anywhere, right? So it's here. Again, here. And then I do that. Then I pretend to grab it, I transfer it from here, I pinch it behind, I show my palms, it's here, and then I bring it into view, but this is too complicated to cut into pieces. My left hand is empty, so I push back my left sleeve. My right hand is empty, so I push back my left sleeve. I snap my fingers. The coin is between his fingers. Oh shit, it's gone. It's always the same gestures with the same energy at the same moment. The only thing I don't know is where in the hell the big coin is coming from. Surprise, interest, and joy. Do you see, or did you see, how I weaved in the same three emotions I keep talking about since the beginning in the very explanation of this trick? I'm surprising you with the Bitcoin. That's the surprise, the perception, the thing we don't expect. But I knew when this was going to happen that the crowd was going to go, wow. Because it's cool, right? It's the thing we don't expect. How did I create interest? Because I showed you how you were thinking. I showed you how you were interpreting. I showed you how you were sometimes biased by your interpretations. But I showed you the inner workings of your brain and of your perceptions, which is cool. Right? And then the demonstration, how is it? Is it fluid? Is it cool? Do you like go on a ride and you're transported to the intricacies of a magic effect? But the emotion of joy is there because it's fluid, because you're not asking yourself any questions. You're just embarking on in the experience, right? And this is called showing off. I've only got 3 minutes, but I will conclude because I think I tied myself properly. So what just happened? What is the secret between what I showed you? And what can we get from that? What I understood when I create a magic effect, that empathy is not always feeling what the other person feels. That's one part of empathy. Empathy is thinking like the other person is thinking. But how do we do that? Because it's sometimes hard. We can't always think like the other person is thinking. Now, if we take perspective, and if we want to work on your skill, your empathetic skills, I think it's worth asking the questions I'm asking myself when I'm designing a magic effect, like the coin vanish I just showed you. These are the 5 questions I always ask myself when I get into a conflictual situation, when I get into a meeting, when I want to make a good impression. These are the 5 questions I always ask myself. And these are the 5 questions that any human being asks him or herself when he meets someone, when he wants to convince someone, or when he goes somewhere and creates an interaction. 60% of our perceptions are visual. I know that unconsciously you scanned me from head to toe and you made comments in your heads about my shoes, my jeans, with my belt maybe, my tie. You had to make yourself some remarks because you saw there was an impact coming at you. And human beings see. They take what they see, and then interpretations start to pop in. When I design magic effects, I want to know what my audience sees, and that's why I'm concerned about the position of my wrists, where I stand, how I stand, because I know that the perceptive eye will be the first thing that will create the beginning of the experience. Then, what does my client hear? All the words I chose today, even the rude language, I apologize for that, but I did this on purpose. Because I know sometimes that from time to time, when you have to talk for 45 minutes to an audience, swearing a little bit from time to time will just, jolt people and wake them up and make you feel more conversational. What does my client hear? Right? These seem to be very basic questions, but I challenge you to ask yourself these questions whenever you want to make a good impression. From what we see and hear, there's always an interpretation. And we are at the heart of empathy. This is the skill. From the same situation that we see, from the same things or words that we hear, 2 people will react in entirely different ways. When a dad yells at his children, maybe at the girl and the boy, one will cry, one will laugh. Why? Because one will interpret things differently. When we want to create a real customer experience, we have to know how people will interpret what they will see and hear. If someone reacts in a way we don't expect, it's because his or her interpretation is not the one we expected. But we have to be looking for it. We have to go finding it. Because then, from this interpretation, what will happen? A feeling. Right? When we interpret things, there's a decision which is based on what we feel, and the decision is the conclusion. If you want to be more empathetic, you have to think, what does the person in front of me see? What do they hear? What do they interpret from what they saw and heard? What are they feeling? And then what will they conclude? And the conclusion is always one of two things. I like it, I don't like it. I'm buying, I'm not buying. I'm staying, I'm not staying. It all boils down to these 5 things. When I analyze the customer journey, I'm always asking myself, what does my client see? What does my client hear? What could my client interpret? What will he feel there if he interprets this? And what will he conclude? And I like to reverse everything. I always ask myself, whenever I get into a meeting, whenever I meet someone, what do I want the person in front of me to conclude? I'm asking myself this question. It's an obsession. I asked myself this question this morning when I arrived here. I said, after hearing what you spoke about, after hearing all the speeches, I asked myself, what do I want them to conclude about me as a person and about the experience they're going to have with me? Powerful question. What do I want the other person to conclude? I think it's worth asking ourselves this question. So surprise them, deliver more, be interested in them. We have all different realities, we all think different ways, and we have to find out what the other person is thinking in order to be empathetic. And make it easy, make it effortless, make it flow. And as I showed you in magic, it's the same thing, we have to practice. It's a skill. Because the magic is you.